Welcome to Changing of the Hip Hop Guards. I'm the journalist Sincere. That's my partner, Uncle E. And today we have the pleasure of speaking with DJ producer Maticulous. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
No doubt. We want to take it back a little bit and then talk about what you have currently going on in 2024. But for those who may not know, can you take us back to where you were born and raised?
I was born in a really small town called Ebensburg, PA. It's about 60 miles east of Pittsburgh. And yeah, man, I had hip hop dreams ever since I was like probably about 17, 18. And you know, I did college radio out where I was from, and afterwards I got an internship with DJ Honda, and I moved out to New York. So that was like the genesis of where I started my music journey.
Could you take it back just a little bit? How did you get into DJing initially?
I mean, so where I'm from, it's not very, it wasn't very cultured at all. It was really like the only music that was super accessible was the radio, and it was either top 40 or country, or like, contemporary type stuff. And I got introduced probably, I guess, like 91 or 92 with, like Fresh Prince and Run DMC. But yeah, it was like very few and far between my exposure to the music. But then once I got older, like the West Coast stuff was very accessible to everyone. You know, like the Chronic, anyone who's everyone heard that album. And then like from that, it kind of expanded into more of like indie arenas where I really got obsessed with it. So like by the time I was about 19 or 20, I knew that I wanted to pursue this as like a lifetime thing.
Did you have a mentor before getting into DJing? Did you have somebody you were looking up to teach?
No, nothing. It was all really just, once you get into something, you try to just really, for me personally, I just got into everything. Like I subscribed to the Source, and in the back of the Source, I found that you could buy turntables, and I got them delivered to my house. And then I was just, I started, I mean, they were terrible turntables, but I learned how to mix and all that stuff. And I was just buying records all the time. Any chance I got, any holiday, any like birthday, I was just asking for records all the time. And just that studying of, cause like I said, I wasn't exposed to everything. So I got everything secondhand, and just going in on stuff that I had missed from years prior. Like I didn't hear Illmatic when it came out, like I heard it was written before Illmatic. So, just going back in the back catalogs and just studying that stuff and like reading articles in magazines and them, saying what is, the best of the best. And I would just eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know what I mean? So yeah, that.
Crazy. Just out of curiosity, when you say you heard it was written first, when you went back and listened to Illmatic, what were your thoughts as far as, with a comparison between the two albums?
I mean, I had obviously better memories of it was written, but I'm not going to say it was written as better than Illmatic. I mean, I have songs on It Was Written that, are amazing, but I mean, Illmatic is Illmatic.
Right. So were you? Well, I guess I'm trying to say, were you even more impressed when you heard Illmatic?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
what was?
for sure. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely. I mean, yeah, I mean, the first time I heard it, it was just so. I mean, Nas is one of the best, if not the greatest of all time. And like hearing it was written, there were so many story joints on there, and then going back to Illmatic and the more rawness of it, just, I mean, when you listen to someone say like, "Wipe the sweat off my dome, spit this flow in the street, sway Tim's on my feet, makes my cipher complete," like you just see it, and it's just
Right.
like But yeah, Illmatic is special for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Can you talk a little bit? How did you end up landing the DJ gig on WIUP's The Underground?
Um, so I went to a college for 2 years, and I realized that wasn't my fit. I wanted to go and like explore the hip hop thing, and I basically auditioned, and I had turntables for a year before, so I was pretty comfortable auditioning, and like a lot of the people that were above me didn't know as much about music as I did, so it was kind of like I got it, and I got it with my boy, and we did a year, and then we got nominated for best show, and then I did another year and a half before I moved to New York. So it was really it's always cool to put people onto music whenever they're open to hearing it, and a lot of the people in the school weren't exposed to some of the stuff that we were playing, so to get that love was really rewarding.
So you basically leave the station, you move to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
When you're making that move to Brooklyn, was there plans of trying to land another radio gig? Was that the initial thought, or what was your plan when you decided, let me move to Brooklyn?
No, my plan was when I got the gig with Honda, I was on a mission to be a producer. So whenever I was in school, they were like, you were required to do an internship for college credit, and you couldn't graduate if you didn't get this internship in college credit. And everybody was doing like the route of like, I will shadow a teacher, and I was like, man, I can't do that. I can't do that for 6 months. Like, I need to figure something out.
Right.
So I went on. It was one of those. I think it was Monster.com, and it was like DJ Honda looking for an intern to like shadow him in the studio, and I was like, that's what I need to do. So like, I dropped everything, and my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, like she's been with me the whole time, and we moved to Brooklyn on January 4th, 2004, and I started my internship like the Monday after. So like
Wow.
I've been, but that internship, it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like shadowing him, no pun intended, but like being with him in the studio and like learning the ropes. But it was more like cleaning up his first floor and like managing his store for,
Okay.
like 12, 13 hours a day. And I did that for about 3 months. And I was just like, man, I need to do something else. So I called Fat Beats for like a month, and after a month, they were like, come in for an interview, and I got that internship, and that's kind of where everything started, basically.
Gotcha.
Talk a little bit about working at Fat Beats. What were you seeing? What was your job duties? Your time there? Best memories?
Man, it's the best job I ever had, honestly. I started as an intern, and I did cleaning the store, and then when orders would come in, I would file away records, and then if customers came in, we had have you ever been into Fat Beats? Have you guys
Yeah,
been to Fat Beats? Okay, so you remember you were at the one on 6th Avenue.
the one
Uh,
you went upstairs.
You up,
yeah.
above the bagel buffet. Yeah.
Mhm.
What years were you guys there?
I wasn't there until '97.
I went a couple of times, I think before, probably like 95-ish around that
Okay,
time.
so you were there before I was
Yeah.
there. But yeah, so you remember that wall, that huge wall of records, and those were all 12 inches. That wall that extended
Okay.
the LPs were on the other wall and in the bins, but like everything was 12 inches. And if you wanted to come in and hear one of those records, you could bring it to the DJ, and that was a part of my job too. But after a couple months, they hired me to be associate behind the counter and talk to the customers and ring them up and all that stuff. And then probably about a year and some change, they hired me to be the buyer and the manager. So I was like basically everything that came in and out of the store. That was my job. And then like setting up in stores. When I was an intern, one of the craziest memories was there was a KRS album in 2004 called Keep Right.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen so many people in a store in my life. Like it was like maybe the third or fourth day I was ever there, and I had to like manage everybody, make sure everyone was not like acting crazy, and like making sure KRS was good. And that's crazy for a kid that just I was ready, but I had no idea what to expect at that time. It was crazy, man. But that was cool. But I mean, everybody that I've ever wanted to meet in this space, minus maybe a handful of people, I got to meet at Fat Beats, and it was a blessing for a kid that was just kind of thrown into it. You know what I mean? It was really dope looking back on it.
Crazy.
I haven't talked about this in a long time, so it's it's all coming back, and it's special, man. It's I'm very grateful.
At what point did you get into producing?
So I wanted to, like I said, when I moved here, like that was the end game. But I didn't have any gear, like I didn't have anything. So, when I was at Fat Beats, it was when I was kind of saving up, and about a year after I lived here, I bought an MPC. I bought 2 Techniques. I bought speakers, and it was like I always say, it was like the most I ever spent on myself in a day. Like I bought everything I needed, So from that point on, I was just teaching myself, and I had help along the way. But yeah, it was fun, and it was a learning curve, and it was frustrating because like as soon as I got all the stuff, I was like, I'm gonna be dope right now, but that shit never happens. Can I? Is it cool if I swear or no?
Yeah, you're good.
That's okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that shit never happens immediately. But that was the beginnings of where I am now.
So can you talk a little bit about the process of learning, when it comes to producing? Because did you have anybody that was helping you, learn, or was it all
Yeah, I
self-taught?
so I was like, I had no shame. I was asking anyone and everyone that was making beats at the time questions. I felt behind because a lot of people that I knew from Fat Beats were doing it much younger than me, and I didn't have the means or the know-how to do it. So by the time like 2005, I was here for about a year is when I got all my gear, and then is when I started. And I was actually taught on Reason, and I hated it. I hated that interface, that software. I really wanted to touch the pads of the MPC. So that was when I was just like, nah, I'm not doing software right now. I'm just gonna use the MPC for a while and see what happens. And yeah, that's how I got started.
So you were at Fat Beats while you producing?
Yeah, that was so I started at Fat Beats in March 2004, and I was at the store until September of 2007, and then from September 2007 until October of 2010, I was at I went to the warehouse because they promoted me to do like sales and A&R and stuff like that. So I was at the distribution at the record label for about four years plus. But yeah, all that whole time I was just kind of like just working on my craft, man. Like just getting myself to a point where I'd be like, am I comfortable putting this out forever? And I put my first project out with Fat Beats in April of 2011.
Did you have any earlier placements before your debut project? Like when people were coming in, where you're like, I produce, where
I mean,
your beats that way?
so yeah, people would come in and I would say I make beats, but like I wasn't ready yet. Like I wish, because like I think honestly, if I was making beats to the level that I was in 2011, if I was making those in like 2005, I think things might be a little bit different. I mean, you can't see into the future, but like I had the opportunity to hand my stuff off to a lot of people being at that store. But everybody's journey is different, and yeah, so yeah, I had like maybe one or two placements before I put my debut project out, but it wasn't anything crazy.
What gave you the confidence to come out with that debut project?
It was time. It was time, man. I put so much work in, and I put a lot of care into everything that I do. Sorry, this light went off. 1 second. Can you guys still see me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it was time. It was time, and I got a good roster of MCs together, and I was so looking back on it, I was so green, but I knew what I wanted, and yeah, it came together really nice. I don't know if you guys the first song I ever put out was it's called Body the Beat. It was featuring Rusty Jux, R.A. the Rugged Man, and Rock from Helter Skelter.
Okay.
And we shot a video for that. And I first started putting music out in the height of the blog era. Like it was Nah Right and Two Dope Boys, and to have your first song be covered on those sites, it was just like, oh shit, here we go. And then kind of like the blog era just went after that. So yeah, it was like, every time I put out something, it's like learning something new.
Damn, that's crazy. I completely forgot about that. What was it? Not right.
Nah Right.
Right. Yeah.
Two Dope
Damn,
Boys.
that's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, even back then, like Hip Hop DX was covering
Yeah.
like indie stuff. So
Yeah.
but it was crazy because we shot a video for that, and it got like 50,000 views in the first week, and I was like, all right, let's go. This is what's supposed to happen. And it's crazy, man. That whole era just kind of like took a nosedive, and then you had to figure out how to promote your shit other ways.
Right. Before we continue, as far as with your music and beats, I just wanted to, if you could touch a little bit on, because at Fat Beats you eventually became like a buyer, and then you moved into A&R, which I know DJ Clips was involved with the buyer part. But can you just talk a little bit about that, like exactly like how was that as far as while you were doing the A&R side of it? How was that experience? What kind of stuff were you dealing with?
Are you asking about the buyer stuff or the A&R stuff?
A little bit of both. If you could touch a little bit of both.
Yeah. So when I was just an associate and like working behind the counter, you got to observe things, and I was very observant because I was very interested. So I got to see like when the buyer would order records every week, how many times a week from different distributors. And then finally, when I got the job, I was ready. I was just like, this is what we need. I know what sells. I know the ins and outs of it. And, it was great. I was there a lot. everybody was underpaid, but we, you know, we did it because we
You
loved
loved
it.
it. Yeah, yeah.
But then, you know, it was a grind, man. It was like I would get like one day off a week, and you know, I would get let out early because the store was open from 10 or I'm sorry, from 12 to 9, and I was there from about 10:30 until like 10 every day, and I would have one day off, and it was Sundays. And I just got like, you know, it was a grind. So I was just like, you know, maybe if I you know, want to go to the warehouse where they do the label, it was more of like it wasn't a 9 to 5 thing, but it was Monday through Friday. You get vacation and all that stuff. And, you know, it was cool. It was cool initially, but at the end of the day, it was like you're selling other people's music, and it was a desk job. So like I was behind a desk, and it was like, you know, I'm trying to do music. If I could have gone back to the store, I would have, because it was a better. I got to connect with people more. You
It was a
know,
good
like,
networking spot.
yeah, exactly. And not only for me, it was just like, you know, vibes wise, like you get to see people every day and you get to talk about music. But when you're behind a desk, that's just not for me at all. And that was hard for me, because like to stay creative while you're kind of getting drained is one of the toughest things for me personally. But it was all a really good experience. I got to you know, when I first came into Fat Beats is when Mad Villain came out, and I got to see the you know, I don't know how it is now, but for when I was there from 2004 to 2010, it was like the biggest selling record every year for 8 years. It was crazy. Like they repressed that record
That particular album?
over and over. Yeah, Mad Villain, Mad Villain, J Lib were the two joints that were just every year, over and over and over. But yeah, those two records, classic, and they live on forever in people's minds, I think, for sure.
Right. And then and on the A&R side, you know, did you get, like, how exactly did that work as far as the A&R work through Fat Beats?
So yeah, like we would have meetings every week, and we would
Right.
discuss, like we would bring in new projects and talk about, like, do we want to bring this in for like a P&D, or do we want to try to bring this in for on the label? When I got over there, that was when we brought in Black Milk. I got to see like the beginnings of Black Milk putting out his whatever 3 or 4 first albums through Fat Beats, and we got, you know, so yeah, that was that sort of thing. Like it was kind of strategy on what we want to bring in, what we want to distribute, and you know, and then the day-to-day thing was like hitting up stores all across. Like I was responsible for the entire West Coast, some international, and then like bigger East Coast accounts. Like, do you remember undergroundhiphop.com?
Yeah.
So like I would sell to them our product. Like it was undergroundhiphop.com, and then like various, like all the amoebas I sold to. Trying to think. There were some like bigger distribution labels overseas, like in Poland and stuff like that, that would sell to bigger stores, but I couldn't tell you right now because I can't remember. Yeah, it was dope.
Cool. Man, it sounds like a dream job in a way, though, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean,
just being at Fat Beats in general,
for
everything
sure,
you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of curiosity, you guys were just talking about the single, the body the beat.
Yeah.
You talked about that. You mentioned, you know, some heavy hitters as far as being on that project, but what was it? You know, how did you get people to say or recognize you as far as your production? You know what I mean? Because you kind of jumped into that single and you got these guys on there, but what was it that they even said, yeah, I'll mess with you. You got some dope beats.
So a lot of it was, you know, meeting people, and like they didn't necessarily know I made beats, but like whenever I approached them, it was like that level of, I don't want to know. I don't want to say respect because like they didn't hear my stuff yet. But like I am in a position at Fat Beats where, you know, I'm the buyer. I'm an A&R and stuff like that. So whenever I approach them, I'm not trying to waste anybody's time.
Okay.
So like the first verse that I ever recorded was with Rusty. So like I hit him with this beat, and you know we recorded it together, and you know I just went from there. And I was I did an in-store for RA the Rugged Man back when I was at the store for Die Rugged Man Die,
Okay.
and I was always a huge fan of his from like Raucous days and stuff. And I told him, I was like, one of these days I'm gonna produce a song for you. And he just, you know, he was cool, like he was very cool. But then like years later we ended up doing it, and yeah, it was dope.
Nice.
So, you released your debut full-length album in 2015. What did you learn from your EP? You said you were a little green around that time going into your LP.
Yeah, just kind of like what to expect from artists whenever you're working with producer. Albums are funny, man. Like it's a love-hate relationship with them because you have to be very patient. You have to know what you want, and you have to be able to guide rappers in a way that that makes for the best product. Because like I don't love producer albums because a lot of times I hear them, it just sounds like let me get like 30 dudes over my beats, and these songs don't even make sense. It's just like dudes just rapping. I like to try to make it an experience, like a front to back experience. And like the first record, I'm absolutely proud of it, and I think there are concepts on it. But from that point on, I made an effort to make it a experience for the listener, as opposed to like, oh, you got this dude, and they're rapping about how good they are, and it's just like I want more than that.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about meeting Justo, the MC, and your guys' working relationship?
Okay. Yeah, so we met in 2017. Yeah, we met. It was a chance. It was kind of a chance meeting. So I was going up to Sirius to meet Eclipse. We were meeting up for something, and he happened to be there, and we met through this dude B Shine. He was shooting a lot of interviews and rap videos and stuff, and through mutual people, like people had said, "Yo, you should work with this dude Justo," and then I'm there, and we meet up, and I sent him a couple joints, and we hit it off pretty quickly, man. Like from the time I met him to the time we had like 2 joints done in probably like 2 weeks, something like that. And then we were just like, man, we should do an album. And then 3 albums later, like it was a dope working relationship for sure.
So you have a new album about to drop called The Expanse. Can you talk a little bit about what we can expect from this project?
Yeah, man. It's I don't want to say it's like a departure in sound, but it's definitely inspired by other like just source material. I hadn't released a producer album since 2021, and I wanted to do something different. And this joint is it's just featuring one MC per track, and it's all like storytelling stuff.
Okay.
Instead of just like the braggadocio stuff. So it's a concept. Everybody's point of view is different. There's like this straight ahead story, like the Elzai joint that just came out, and then there's like just personal experience type stuff too.
No. And when is that supposed to come out?
June 14th. It'll be out June 14th.
June 14th. You plan on making any videos or anything to go along with it?
Yeah. I have video. There'll be a physical
copies.
Yeah, for
Nice.
sure.
Vinyl?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Nice.
you know,
Make
you
you a
guys
little
are getting
hesitant or what?
you guys are getting all this info first. I haven't told anybody anything yet. So
Oh,
like,
okay, okay.
you guys are getting the exclusive.
Got you, got you.
But yeah,
All right. So June 6th, we could be on the lookout for that.
June
Real quick,
14th.
June 14th, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
And just so everybody knows, through your website, where can they, purchase the physical copies at?
So you can go to my website maticulousmusic.com, or you can
Okay.
go to my Bandcamp. That's probably the easiest, most straightforward. Meticulous 21, the numbers 21 dot
Okay.
bandcamp.com.
Got you, got you. Quick question. I saw you did a remix featuring MF Doom and Ra the Rugged Man as well. How did that come about?
Yeah, man. So that was like right around the time I had left Fat Beats, and they had a record with this. I believe they're a French group called Union, and they put out a joint with Doom, and they were looking for producers to remix the song with Doom. So they had maybe 4 or 5 dudes, and they reached out to me, and I had the privilege of hearing all this stuff. So I was like, I want to make mine a little bit different. So I hit up RA because we had that working experience from Body the Beat, and he had never, like, with Body the Beat, he had never worked with Duck Down artists before, and then with this remix, he had never worked with Doom before, so he was all about it, and yeah, it turned. I'm happy with that. Like, years later, I mean, it came out in 12 years ago now, and every time I hear it, I'm still pleased with it.
Right, right.
So yeah, that's how that went down.
Did you by any chance get a chance to meet Doom through that, or did you get a chance? No, never. Like not even during
Never,
Fat Beats time.
never, not once. The only time I ever saw Doom was right around the time I started at Fat Beats. I went to the Mad Villain release party at BB
Okay.
King's, and it
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
it was Doom and Madlib and Dilla, and
Mm.
they did a whole J-Lib set, and then they did a whole Mad Villain set. So that
Nice,
was
nice,
that was crazy.
nice.
It's crazy.
Just out of curiosity, you've done projects with one artist, full projects, and you've also done work with multiple. Any difference? Do you like one better than the other as far as work wise? Not the artist, but just the process.
I'm a one MC, one producer
One
dude,
MC,
man.
yeah.
Like I just it's so rewarding to kind of just go back and forth with ideas, and then you can hit the producer up and talk on the phone, and just like being like with Justo. I mean, we live semi close to each other, so
Okay.
he would record at his crib, and then he would send it to me, and then I would arrange everything, and then we would go in the studio together and mix. And that process is amazing, because you're just kind of like, from the beginning, you're just chefing up a meal for someone, and what's going to happen, because you're both. I mean, I know what's going to happen when I do producer albums, but it's just like kind of like a collaborative effort that you
Right,
both
right,
kind of serve.
right, right, right. Any particular artist that you haven't worked with that's on your bucket list?
Fonte, Anderson Paak, Andre 3000, Black Thought. I'd still like to do a joint with Common.
Ooh, that would be dope.
I mean, yeah, DJ Quick. I would love to produce a joint for DJ Quick.
Quick, cool.
That's all I'm thinking of right now.
Yeah, that's a hell of a list to just have right off the top, man. Pretty dope.
You released 2 singles from your newest project so far. What has the feedback and reaction been like?
It's been really dope, man. Dilla is the goat. Like he is the top, along with DJ Quick. Those are my two like favorite producers, and to work with Elzai, who was like brought in by Dilla, and for him to be so he was so dope to work with, man. Like he was just, you know, I sent him the joint and I was just like, you know, I'm doing stories and he just really he just killed it, man. Like he really just he went in, you know, because people can phone it in and just be like, you know, this is what I got, but you know, it's dope, you know. It's really dope. And then the Husk Kingpin joint, I never worked with him before either. And I always try to do some like fly. I don't want to say West Coast shit, but just some like just vibey stuff, like at least one or two. And he just really he killed it. I mean, he's a really dope MC. And whenever he sent me the track back, like I was still kind of in the process of naming my album, because that's the hardest part. Naming your album is the hardest part. Yeah, name songs is nothing, but whenever you're trying to name an album, and like where I was at the time, I was making very spacey, very just like different vibey type things, and he sent me that title back, and I was like, man, I think that's the perfect name for my album. So like the first single is that, and then the album is that, and it's worked out dope.
Once that album does its thing, what's next for Maticulous?
I'm producing an album for El Gaunt. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. So we're doing an album together, and then I'm doing an album with this dude from Pittsburgh named Beatty. He used to be in a group with Mac Miller called what was the name of their group? I'm spacing right now, but yeah, they started out together, and we've been working together since 2012. I did a EP called The Confluence, and it came out just like on fatbeats.com on digital, and it was all Pittsburgh MCs. So I've been working with him for about 12 years, and it's like, you know, it's about time we did a full project. And then I got a couple other things, but they're not like concrete yet. But that's like the immediate future right now.
Oh, any other avenues outside of producing?
As far as music?
No, anything else that you're pursuing outside of music, still music, you know, just where does Maticulous find itself in the next 5 years or so?
Evolving, man, just evolving as a producer. That's like that's my thing. I love making music, and I love to try to, I had a really, one of the dopest compliments that I ever got was during the mixing sessions of this album. And my boy said, he's like, you know, you're making music that sounds like what 1995 should sound like today. And that's like my whole thing. Like, I'm not trying to be stuck in the past. I'm trying to make what everybody loved back in those times, like, sound familiar but different at the same time. You know, I'm not trying to recreate what happened, but I'm trying to expand upon it. And yeah, that's really what I want to do for as long as I can. As long as I'm inspired is when I'm going to do it.
No, I was just going to ask, you know, along the lines of Sincere's question. You know, like we just saw Premier, I think, announce that he's opening up like a record shop or something like that. You know, with your background at Fat Beats, did you ever think of maybe doing something, you know, on a business end side more?
No, because like, you know, basically Bandcamp is like your online store, but like I would never open up a physical store unless I had a bunch of capital to throw into it, because like you want to make an experience for the person, but you also don't want to be like stressed out with your overhead and like how much you have to. And like today, you know, it's all do it yourself anyway. It's like, you know, nobody's really opening up brick and mortar stores at all, you know, unless they've already been established, like an Amoeba or random ones here or there. But like I wanted to open up like a record and coffee shop back in like 2013, but yeah, that shit, that's nah, yeah.
You're in Brooklyn though, man. There's some spots, I'm sure you can find some dope spots out
Yeah.
there for that.
You know the rent in
Um,
Brooklyn?
yeah, I know. Now it's crazy. I know.
Bro,
It's not the same like it was. Quick,
crazy.
before we get out of here, so you just mentioned like '95, and me and Sincere have this conversation all the time about how dope it was when a certain artist was getting ready to come out, the anticipation, the excitement of going to the store to buy it, opening the package up, checking the sleeves out, that whole experience.
Oh yeah.
When's the last time you had that experience?
I mean, so I say the last two albums that I think are like canon in hip hop are Little Brother's last joint,
Okay.
May the Lord Watch, and Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly. And when I got those two records on vinyl, I had that experience. Those were the two experiences. I mean, I heard them first on streaming or whatever, but when I ordered them on vinyl, I was just like, it was like when I was in high school, man. It was very
feeling,
very for sure.
Dope. Those are two good albums, though, man. That's dope.
Fucking yeah, classic, man. Classic.
The Expanse is out June 14th. Where can the people keep up with you moving forward on social media?
Yeah, you can hit me up on Instagram. It's just maticulous, maticulous, and then Twitter. Yeah, I don't want to call it X. It's just maticulous 21. And then my Bandcamp is maticulous21 .bandcamp.com, and then I think that's it.
Very dope. We want to thank you for the opportunity. Want all the viewers out there to be on the lookout for his new project and much more. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Maticulous.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Can we give your wife a quick shout out, man? Because I heard that somewhere that she's pretty responsible for your websites and even some of your designs of your albums.
Oh yeah, man.
Ideas with your album covers and all of that stuff. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, she's the most down ever. She designed every album cover up until this one. Like she had the concept. I mean, she even still had the kind of like a rough concept for this joint too. But she's incredible.
Is she into graphic design, or is it just something that she just happens to do
to help
you out?
She's a designer just in life. No, she has no graphic design programs or anything. She just so when she would make my joints, I would compare it to like chopping samples. Like she would get a sample from here, use a program here, and then like make it work. And it was like a collage of experience to make something happen. But yeah, like my first joint, the EP, she took the picture, and then like she had the fonts, and then whoever it was that was able to format it for vinyl did that stuff. But like that's all her.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. That's nice. It gives it a little bit more, makes it even more meaningful.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like Sincere said, man, thank you once again. It's been an honor and a privilege, man. Much success with everything you're doing.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Yeah, let's stay connected, man.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right. Let us know whenever you have something coming out, too.
Absolutely. I'll hit you guys on DM.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Peace.
Peace.